Hello, Internet. My name is John Kulas. I am a 20-year professor of industrial and organizational psychology. I'm a 10-year user of R for statistical applications. And for the last 6 or 7 years, I've also been using R to author things like technical reports and academic papers and websites and slides. Every week, I get together with some collaborators who are also interested in using R to author. And really what we'd like to do is we'd like to have the opportunity to help other people out with their authoring projects. People who might have a question of just how do I do something? How do I get a font in there? How do I publish something? How do I share it? How do I navigate it? Anything really. So I changed the name. The acronym that we were using was a problem solving panel, which is the idea of this live stream. But I changed it to open office hours to kind of reflect maybe a little more of that here to help kind of mentality of this. So what we've been doing in the meantime, when we haven't had much interaction or questions, what we've been doing is little workshops, little tutorials, little endeavors to visit elements of R that can be used for authoring. And so every week we'll recap what we did the previous week regarding what we focused our time on. Last week it's pretty easy recap of last week because last week we had a lot of difficulty for for whatever reason. I don't know. It's just things weren't clicking. So we were having a hard time loading the extension that we wanted to try, the Quarto extension that we wanted to try out, test drive, if you will. The Quarto extension that facilitates the formatting of academic type manuscripts in APA format. So APA is the American Psychological Association. It's one of the primary formatting guides for academic things. And so we'll take another look at what happened last week. It really there's not a whole lot to recap since we struggled quite a bit. But then we'll be able to spend the majority of tonight not on the accessing of the extension. We'll recap that, but we'll be able to spend the majority of our time actually test driving this thing. So seeing how it works. And I haven't even really thought about it since last Tuesday. So we'll be coming at it fresh. And then again, if anyone happens to stumble across this and has any sort of question, whoa, look at that. Just trying to highlight a little bit here and it's not working. If anyone stumbles across this and has a question or wants any help with an authoring project, then certainly that shared problem solving is an opportunity for that. So let's go ahead and do a quick recap here of what happened last week.
Well, the ocean liner bearing our heroes is still sort of lost at sea with Captain Wrongway Peach Fuzz at the helm. They have gone more miles and got less places than any ship in the world.
X3 Andalusia approaches Point Them, boy.
Work3 Andalusia hits Point Them, boy. Damage great.
And to make things even worse, the ship has now run out of food.
Boy, am I ever hungry.
Yeah, me
Just
too.
looking at pictures of food makes my mouth water. Oh, Uncle, what are you eating?
I just couldn't resist the picture, Rocky, so I ate it.
Okay, give me a page.
Here's a fruit salad with cottage cheese.
Delicious. Here, have a picture of standing rib roast in full color. How is it?
Well, I really like it a little more well done.
So, really, I think what happened last week in terms of the stumbling blocks that we had, there were a few things. The primary, first of all, Quarto is still fairly new to us, and certainly the use of extensions, we haven't really played with those. And this particular extension that we were trying, APA Quarto, it wants the place where you store the extension to be an empty folder. And that, for whatever reason, that seemed to be a little bit of a stumbling block for us. And the other thing that happened was we didn't have the Quarto package, so not the software installation of Quarto, which you need to download and install separately from R or RStudio. There's also a package that RStudio provides, and so the package that runs within R, the Quarto package itself, is implicated here by the word Quarto and then the double colon. So that's the convention to say, instead of loading a library, I just want to use a function from that package. And so the function from that package that is available in the current Quarto package is Quarto underscore use underscore template. And so we kind of ran into two issues last week. One was making sure that the destination for the extension was clean, and so there wasn't anything in it. It was a new or empty folder, and then we directed R to that folder from just the base command set working directory. And then the other thing that we needed to do is we needed to make sure that we had on our local machines that we had the most up-to-date, most recent version of the Quarto package, not the software itself, but the package. And again, the reason for that is because it appears as though this function was a part of the updated package and wasn't included in previous versions of the package. And so that once we got those figured out, it was fairly smooth. But so it's kind of two important things there if we're at least using the APA Quarto package. So today we're gonna test it out. We'll test drive it. So we'll see if we can actually get an APA formatted paper using this extension. And I hope one of my collaborators shows up, because I'm probably going to need some minds to kind of bounce ideas off of, since this is brand new for all of us. Here's the information for APA Quarto itself. Again, there is in the description on YouTube, there is a link to slides, and so you should have access to, with that link, you should have access to all the hyperlinks and the slides as well. And I try to embed useful links in these whenever possible. So there's a link to the APA Quarto on the slides. One thing we found out last night I did kind of an impromptu stream with some people who had test driven the new IDE that Posit, the company that provides RStudio, the IDE, the new IDE that was just recently announced. And one of the things I found out was that there's a lot of people that access this, not via YouTube, and it's via Twitter. So I don't really know how to use Twitter, but we had just a ton of people, it seemed like, on Twitter last night. And so I got to try to find a way, I think, to embed better, or to better link some of these resources on that platform, because I guess some people are preferring to access what we're doing here through that other platform. But for now, it's probably, for tonight anyway, that the resource is linked in the YouTube comments, and it is not full integration with Twitter in terms of kinds of things that we're doing. Okay, so let's see if we can find somewhere on this link. Wow, I really have things blown up. See if we can find somewhere on here a description of how to use it. One of the other things we did last week was we didn't really read the directions. We just started playing, and it turns out that probably should have read the directions. So installation we already did. There's a nice on the link here. There's actually a nice menu, and if you read it, it'll walk you through. And again, the important parts that's made us stumble last week was we didn't have an empty folder that we were saving the extension in, and also we didn't have an updated Quarto package within R. Okay, so once the extension is installed, you still need to change the output format of your document. Okay. That is a little different. So the baseline that we're coming from, or the orientation I think that we're coming from as we're looking at this extension is one, Quarto is still kind of new to us. We've been certainly using it more for presentations than for papers. But two, everyone that is participating on this R for authoring panel has exposure to Papaja, the old package. I shouldn't say old, but the package that's been around for quite a while via our Markdown, Quarto's predecessor. And the output looks quite similar, which you would expect, I guess. They're both producing academic formatted papers, but the structure of it is what we're curious about here. And so the YAML, you see a minimal example of the YAML itself, and that looks actually quite similar to Papaja. The formatting that they're saying that you want to explicitly acknowledge is, it looks like HTML, PDF, and doc. That doc in particular might be, we'll want to play with that. In Papaja, one of the things that we, the panel members here, one of the things that we did not have great success with was rendering to a Word document. So we typically rendered to a PDF, and so it'll be really interesting to take a. I don't know why you would want HTML. It's in there, but if you're constructing a paper for the purposes of submission to an academic journal, which is probably the primary use of Papaja, and I would imagine this as well, PDF is generally sufficient. I think one of the examples that we have here did look like a paper that a student might submit. Professors, psychology professors in particular, are notorious for rigorous adherence to APA formatting. When I was a professor, I was one of the easy ones, I think. I didn't ever, as much as possible, I didn't assign or take away points for adherence to or failure to adhere to APA formatting, but it's a very common thing for psychology professors in particular to have part of their grading to reflect adherence to APA format. So in those contexts, I can see where a Word document might be something where you might want to render to. I don't think if you're submitting to academic journals, I don't think you need probably Word, but certainly if you're submitting to a professor, the professor might want you to do Word. So let's go through and let's actually go ahead, and I'll reinstall this. I haven't revisited this since last week, so if anyone, it should go a little smoother here this week. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder, just an empty one here, because that seems to be easiest. So I'm going to go, where the heck in my Windows Explorer did new folder go? I kind of lost it here. There we go, new folder. We'll call it, I guess we can call it apaquarto. Hopefully that doesn't interfere at all with the extension itself. Probably not best practice to call the folder the thing that you're interested in. And then we're going to go ahead and set the working directory to that new folder. If I can find where I put it. I think I just put it on my C drive. I did. Okay, so apaquarto on the C. So we'll see if we can set the working directory here in the lower left-hand pane. Oops. I got thick fingers here tonight. I think I might have, I don't know what happened there. I'm going to have to, it's not a bad idea to restart R when running into issues like that. Generally speaking, if you're in one of those loops where you don't have the prompt, it's a parenthesis. Maybe it's just a function of not working in the console very often. We usually script things, and Usually not in the interactive console, but for something like setting a working directory, the console is fine. So let's try that again. Set WD and apaquarto, I think we called it. Change working directory. There we go. So I think I just had my slash wrong. Then we'll go ahead and do the, see if we can find my help page here. We'll do the console install, which again, make sure we have the updated package Quarto. And so we'll go ahead and take a look at that. Make sure that it's version 1.4, which was really confusing when we first started using Quarto. And Quarto, the software came up with version 1.4, and it just so happened to be coincidentally the same version as the package Quarto. So it was really, really kind of, it was another little stumbling block that we had. So we'll see if the installation works here. Do we trust the authors? Yes. Looks like Diego's trying to connect, but oh, there he is. Let me get him in here.
Vamos a ver, ¿qué es lo que pasa con los alcaldes? ¿Qué es lo que pasa con los alcaldes? ¿Qué es lo que sí, qué está pasando con los alcaldes?
Hey, hello.
Hey Diego, how are you?
Hey, what's up? Do you hear a lot of background noise?
No. Why?
Oh,
What are you doing?
'cause Danny is singing to the baby.
Does she have a good singing voice? Maybe bring the mic over to her.
I think she does. She sings Jewish lullabies to her.
Okay. It, when you're talking about melodies and like soothing baby sounds, I don't know why, but Jewish lullaby, that I'm sure they're lovely. In what language is she singing?
Hebrew.
Was it Yiddish? Is it Hebrew? Yeah. Okay. So Diego, I was just going over recapping kind of some of the obstacles that we had last week, and because it wasn't super clean getting it onto our computers, I just reinstalled it here. I haven't yet really looked at how to interact with it. So if you want to do, it should be on my computer now. I should have access to it. I'm not 100% sure where it might appear in my RStudio here. So maybe, again, without reading the instructions, we'll take a look and see if it appears if we go through the pull-down menus in the GUI here and try to do a Quarto document. Now, okay, I'm not seeing, for example, in the old R Markdown ecosystem, if we went R Markdown, we would have a template option appear in the document creation pane, and this is where all of the essentially extensions. These are packages, but these are packages that we use in order to create different types of formatted document with R. You see Papaja here, for example. And Diego and I probably have more templates on our local machines than most people do. But it looks like that's not the way to do it. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the package author says after installing. Okay. If you create a new apaquarto file, you will see a template file in the folder you select. What? Okay, so there should be a QMD somewhere. So it looks like it says it is going to create a file, and it should be in our new directory, right? So let's look in there. So I put it on the C drive in apaquarto. Yeah, it did give me stuff. So there's two QMD files. There's an example and there's an APA Quarto. So we should be able to actually open those up from within our studio. So let's look for those. I don't know why on my local machine here it looks like I have QMD associated with Internet Explorer, which is weird. I don't, I don't, I don't know what I did, but I don't know what I did there. Okay, so then we're coming in with a default template, it looks like. So it has some sections in there for us. It has an appendix. That's kind of nice. It'll be curious. Well, I'll be curious to see how that appendix renders. References are called out differently. You can see this does look more like Quarto using those fenced divs. And oh, look, Diego, he wants us to have a conclusion to our paper. Should we say this is great? That's the conclusion. When he starts with the method, I like that. So forget that intro stuff. Just get right to the meat of it. We have. I'm just going to leave all these defaults here, and we'll just see if it renders as is. Should be a fairly empty document. I don't have Microsoft products, so this is coming up on my local machine as WordPad. But it looks good, I would say. Here's our conclusion. This is great.
It looks, yeah, it looks a little bit like Papaja, right? It has the corresponding concerning this article should be addressed to, yeah. Which I never seen a article have that. Well, I guess they do, but like really
Yeah,
small.
no, well, remember what this is this is formatted to look like a document that you submit to a journal. And then the journals take it and they copy edit it, which is one thing that we should try because in Papaja, it's neat in terms of the thing you're rendering to. It's nice to have the option of rendering it as a manuscript. So MAN is the language that's used in Papaja. You can also render it as a copy edited document. And so maybe let me just switch over real quick to a project where we've been internally, as we're working on this project, we've been rendering it as a copy edited article just because it's easier to read through. And so, Diego, I think with your dissertation, did you do that also? Am I misremembering that?
Um, with
Somebody
the,
did it with their dissertation when they sent it out to their committee. It was a committee I was on, so maybe Renata did it. But anyway, so in Papaja, you can ask for lines to be annotated. I'm sorry, not annotated, but numbered. That makes it
oh
easier
yeah,
for review.
yeah, I did
Yeah,
that when I sent it to my committee.
yep, and that makes it easier for reviewers. So instead of saying, traditionally, when providing feedback on something like that, we would say, the second sentence in the first paragraph on page 70. I mean, first world problems, I get it, but it is really nice having just those line numbers there. And so again, this isn't what we're looking at right now. This is not the Quarto extension, but I'm pulling up a Papaja paper to use as comparison here. And so we'll render it once as the copy edited, nice to review kind of format. And then we can go ahead and re-render it as a manuscript. Something just went bang really loud out here. And so, this is something like you would expect to see from a journal, right? So once it's been accepted and edited nicely and put together, you get a format that actually looks like this. But this is not. Whoa! What happened to our graphs there? This is not typically the way that you would submit something to a journal, the way you would submit it. And in Papaja, it's really slick. We just go up to our YAML here. I don't know, the YAML looks so odd. on this computer. On line 51 here, I have
Journal.
Joe for journal. If we just switch that to manuscript, we should get a paper like professors want and like journal editors want. And so that's what we're seeing with the Quarto extension default as well, as we're getting that manuscript. Now, Diego, would you mind taking a look at the hyperlink I have in this week's slides for the apaquarto extension and just kind of navigate that a little bit and see if he does also have options, probably YAML options, to render it differently, so as a manuscript versus a copy edited document. And then I think we'll also maybe play a little bit around with the bibliography and see if we can get some references in there, and if that works differently with the Quarto extension than it does with Papaja. Here now, if we look at our rendered document, if I can find it, we'll see that it actually should reflect a paper like you would submit to a professor or to a journal, and so it looks more standard. And then Diego, down here, you see that it does appear on this type of rendering when we're rendering to a manuscript. You'll see that kind of boilerplate stuff, correspondence concerning, should be addressed to. And this is what we're going to see with the Quarto extension just on default. It should be rendering. Similarly, if we look at the very end, instead of the nicely placed figures and tables in the copy edited paper, we actually see, those images are put at the end. So that's Papaja. But in the Quarto extension, you know what she sounds like? Do you know who the Jawas are from Star Wars, Diego?
Yeah, the hooded little things in Tatooine.
Yeah. You know when they say Utini? You know that one?
So you can hear her.
I heard her say Utini like a Jawa. So let's see if we can get.
So
Let's see if
the slide that I access it on, because I don't have the repository. Wait, let me check on GitHub. Because I formatted this laptop, I formatted it, so I removed everything on it. And my other computer, my desktop, I took it to get an extra hard drive to increase its storage space.
You got a lot of excuses for someone that's not a student. You're a good student. You never had excuses as a student. Now, anyway, that's what Millie sounded like. She said Utini. All right, so I was looking for Utini. I wasn't listening to your full excuse. What was Are you saying you can't look up that package?
The slide
You want
deck.
me to? Yeah, you want me to do this?
Let's see, I have it. I see it here in GitHub.
Oh, it's not a big. It's in the comments also, Diego. There's a link to the slides in the comments. Oh, you know what? I should be able to do it myself. It is down. There we go. Boy, we've been publishing them since April. At least April, I guess. There's the April one, Donald Duck. I wonder if they're ever going to take those things down, or how much space I have. So, all I was suggesting is using the hyperlink on this slide here. It'll take you to a description of the package that we're playing with. So here you can see this looks like the first rendering that we actually did, and then this one is the copy edited. So he does in there have an option just like Papaja. So we're gonna have to figure out what little buttons to hit, what little things to play with in order to get that. So let me go ahead and find that file again. And it's so weird. It's so weird not operating within a project. I'm so used to now having projects that are connected to GitHub and everything's there, so you don't have to do something like set your working directory. But now it makes more sense in terms of the requirements. For example, of having an empty folder. There, he put quite a bit of stuff in there, so it does make some sense to maybe just have it fairly clean to begin with. This is great. What? He's got a big discussion. We got to put an intro in there, right? Introduction. See how these first, second, and third level headings render. What do we want to study, Diego? Do you have any the origins of?
There's this really cool paper that I think it was Ian or Paulina sent it to me yesterday. I'm gonna send it to you. I think it will be a neat idea.
All right, we'll try a few different headings here. We'll do a second level heading, a third level heading, and maybe a fourth level heading. So the origins of Utini in the introduction. We have A New Hope. That's Star Wars. That's the original Star Wars, right? And we have Tatooine, the sequel. I don't know. Have you been watching any of the new Star Wars stuff, Diego?
The Acolyte. I heard really bad things about it.
It's like notoriously bad things, like crazy bad. Like it's gotten political too. Some of the craziness. Yeah, so I heard that one wasn't so good, but Andor I heard was good. I don't know. I gave up after The Last Jedi. That thing was that was such a like offensive. That was offensive. Like it wasn't just bad. It was they kind of like dissed on the fans directly in the movie. There's a lot. What did he say? Something like, "Kill it if you have to." God, I hate that movie so much. All right, so Tatooine, the sequel, and then we have The Acolyte. Whoops, I'm not typing in the right space here.
I send you a message with a paper. Did you ever read this paper?
What is it?
It's called The Unsuccessful Self-Treatment of a Case of Writer's Block by Dennis Hooper. And it was published in the Journal of Applied Behavior Analysis. And it's just
I've heard of stuff like that. I think I told you there's a prolific guy. I don't remember what field he was in. I think maybe biology, but he would put his dog on as a co-author. Did I tell you that? I think I told you that. I should find out who that guy is. I don't know why, but maybe he really liked his dog, and maybe his dog was a contributor. I don't know. Maybe. I guess if you're a biologist, your dog could be a contributor.
Yeah, Pavlov should have done that.
Well, yeah, that poor dog. Nobody knows the dog's name. It's just known as Pavlov's dog. Pavlov got all the love. Do you know the name of that dog? What was his name?
I don't know, but I think he had a bunch of them, right?
Oh, probably. But only one that drooled. Okay. Origins of Utini. We have the introduction that's centered. We have first level heading that looks like it's left justified, bolded, and italicized. And then this is the one I was curious about. It was always my favorite. Tabbed and a period after it. So apparently that's a fourth level heading. Headings look fine. Let's play with. You said you sent me that article, Diego. Let's put it in the reference section. See if we can get a site. So, what's the guy's name? Why? I don't know what I did to my computer, but everything looks different.
It is Denise Upper.
Upper?
Yeah.
Or Hopper?
Upper, like up.
And what's the title?
The unsuccessful self-treatment of a case of writer's block.
What year was that? That sounds like a 1970s thing. Yes,
Yeah,
1970s.
1972.
They had more fun in the 70s. So we'll go to Google Scholar. We'll go use the little double quotes underneath, and then we'll go get our BibTeX formatted citation. Control A, Control C. And then if I remember right, it looked to me like he already was calling up a bib file in with this extension. So again, we'll navigate to that empty folder. Kind of curious what might be deep in this. Wow. So looks like he's basing this on the typist. Remember that LaTeX Lite kind of thing? The Quarto, the newest version of Quarto, the software, the standalone software. They had a couple of neat things. You could preview images if you hover over a hyperlink. That was kind of neat. And then the other thing they had this new typesetting language that we did a little digging into, and it looks like maybe there's some Europeans that are kind of putting this together. But it's LaTeX Lite, right? Is probably a bad way to describe it, but that's kind of what it felt like. So if we, Diego, because I know you and I have been talking about, yeah, there's a bib file here. So I'll just access that from within our studio to be more consistent. But Utini, there she is. She's a little Jawa. What's her middle name?
Yum.
It's not Jawa.
No.
No. I'm gonna open up that bib file here. It should just come up in our viewer panel. It's got a couple of books in there. There's a good old Cohen reference, applied multiple regression. See if he has any funny stuff in here, actually. Jane Austen, Mansfield Park. Is that a famous book? Probably, I guess. I don't know. I know she's a famous author. Hey, he's got some... Cattell, no. The Cattell-Horn-Carroll model of intelligence. I have no idea what that is. Is this guy a psychologist? Do we know? Do we know anything about him?
Cattell Carroll.
No, the author of the package. Let's see here. W. Sheen? Joel Schneider. Yeah, professor in School of Psychology at Temple. Okay, so that's what, Philadelphia? Looks like a nice guy. Okay, so we're like internet stalking his interests here by looking at his bibs. So instructions in regard to preparation of a manuscript. Ooh, that's probably a good. Oh, you know what? Neat. That is pretty neat. So this is one of the first, I believe, Diego, this on line 48 here, Madison Bentley, Pirenboom, and Hod. There's a couple others. But I think this is one of the original kind of, hey, let's get together and have a standard format for things like academic manuscripts. And so this is kind of, I believe, and I'm talking a little out of turn here, but I think this is one of the impetuses of APA manual, which I now hate. So maybe, I don't know. I'm not so happy about these guys. I'm happy they're getting their due credit, but I don't know if they did something helpful or not. There is a citation, wow, that's a long one, for the 2020 edition of the publication manual. I think my most recent version is, what, 2020? I stopped buying these, and I complain about it all the time, because when I was a student so long, I think I had 2 or 3 different editions while I was a student. But literally, it was, your heading should be bold. And then the new edition was, no, your heading should be italicized. And then the other edition was, no, let's make the heading bold again. And to me, it was just a cash grab by APA. They weren't doing like what seemed to me like justifiable changes for new editions. 2010. So my most recent version of the APA manual that I have access to, that I'm willing to take a look at if I need is 2010. Really, honestly, the only thing we ever really used those for was citations. And, you know, how do I cite a book? How do I cite a conference paper? And so that stuff now is all taken care of if we just use BibTeX, if we just let LaTeX do the work for us. Concise guide to APAs. Well, I mean, looks like he's got some actual good references in here. Let's put in our useless reference, upper unsuccessful, and we'll see if we can cite one of our Utini sections here. So the bibliography should be called up here on line 31. We see it in the YAML. My YAML here for Quarto looks fine. I don't know why it was looking so odd for when we took a brief look at Papaja, but I lost all my color. And one of the things I've noticed with Quarto is it will change some of my scripting, and I've noticed it in particular with bullets. So I usually, for bullets on something like a slide, I'll usually use the plus sign, and I'll render a slide, and then I come back and look at my script, and it's been, maybe it's RStudio that's doing that. Something is changing my scripting, and it's not me. So I do a plus sign. Once I render it, save it, render it, or save upon render, render upon save, whichever way it is. I save upon render, I think. But when I come back and look at it, it'll be altered. It'll be my plus sign is gone, and I have now a couple of indents usually, which I try to avoid, and then a dash. So I don't know. It's a little disconcerting.
Yeah, that happens to me too when I switch between visual and source format. Sometimes for like in Spain for dialogues, you use the dash, long dash, and if I change from visual to source, it'll make my long dash into three dashes, and then if you write three dashes and you render it, it becomes a long dash in the HTML format. So I don't know if that does it automatically for me.
So that must be an RStudio thing then. Jane Doe Deer, we changed her name. We changed our title. Diego uses long dashes, but only sometimes should be I'm guessing this is a running header, short title. And you know, one of the things maybe we'll do before we pop off is maybe we'll take a look at the two YAMLs side by side, Papaja and this new APA Quarto. Generic university, that's not very fun. Okay, so we changed the title and author. Then we'll see if we can put in, just like we normally would, in square brackets with an @ sign here, the call out, the tag for our unsuccessful self-treatment. Wait, how did you come across that, by the way?
I told you, Paulina sent it to me, or
Oh,
maybe it was Ian. Sounds more like an Ian thing.
yeah.
Oh no, it was actually Katrina. It does sound like a Katrina thing too.
Yeah, it does. It's the other thing that's happening here is we're not working within a project, and so I'm not having immediate access to what we're producing in my environment. So let's see if it put it. See where it put it. Maybe something happened. Did you see? Did it render? Maybe I missed something here. Kind of pop through really quick here. Let's see what our terminals are saying.
There was an error message or warning. Oh, I created a document, but it has doc.
Well, we're asking for, sounds like we're asking for doc and HTML as well, but I'm not seeing them. Oh, you know what I didn't do in this new session is I didn't get us back in the directory where we have all this stuff, and I'm guessing that they want you to do that. So let's try that. Yeah, there we go. So we're gonna have to, if we use this, we can maybe try it out in a project folder also, but if you're just using it as instructed, and again, we didn't really do anything other than just scan really quickly through the instructions. There might be further instructions that say how to work with this in a project, and so maybe this stuff is a little more together if you're in a project folder. There's no hyperlink on this. I don't know why it is rendering in a different color, if you can see that. So that's a little different. And again, it could be my computer, since I don't have Microsoft products. You said your computer's at the shop, Diego. Are you able to take a look at this today? Are you on a computer that you can open R and do this or not?
How do you say when you clean up the computer? I do have
Defrag? I'm old enough to remember when defragmentation was a thing. Man, we used to do that in the 90s. Woo, we had fun defragging.
Yeah, I have. Let me actually get the. So I don't have the repository anymore. I'm gonna have to create it again. The
installation. I went through and reinstalled it also because I don't remember what we did. You know, one thing I know. Oh, it's only one page, right? It's a blank page. Apparently, page 497. I was gonna say, pulling those citations from Google Scholar, I have noticed a lot of missing pages. So it's, I've been having to go in and kind of alter my bibs a little bit. But it looks like it renders fine. I'm sure, one thing that's different is we did not give it a citation style language file like we need to do with Papaja. So that apparently is coming installed with this. It looks like. Curious to know if we could override that. If he has accommodated in the YAML probably the option for putting in a different citation style language. It's not necessary. The whole point of this is to render as an APA document, so the citations certainly should be consistent with that. Status changes, deceased. Oh, come on. That's just... let's take that out. I don't want that in there. Conflict of interest. Yes. I wonder, what are these tildes? Do I get rid of them or do I keep them? Yes, I am corrupt. Let's see if that does anything. We might need a tilde before it, or we might need double quotes. I don't know. We should read the directions. We're not getting a lot of errors. We're not getting a lot of feedback in terms of when it's not working. So I don't like that. And I'm not sure. And again, it might be because we're not in a project folder. It's not always popping up in my viewer. It's a little... it's probably user error. You know what? Let's put it in a project folder and just see if it works a little better, or if it works at all. I don't know. Are we going to have to put everything in a project folder?
I think so.
It kind of looks like it, doesn't it? He has another example here. Let's see if we can render it. Are you now on that page, Diego? On his hope page?
It just finished now cloning the repository.
Okay. Because I was going to say, I wonder if we don't have a ton of time left here. I wonder if we should just see if we can get a different document mode. Now, in Papaja, the command is simply JOU. I imagine his is different. So we're gonna have to look a little bit. Template options. Let's see what he's got there. Title. That's pretty
What's the name?
self-explanatory.
What's the name of the Quarto? It's the today's date.
Our slide deck.
No, the this what you're working on here.
Oh, are you in our repo for the live streams?
Yeah.
I haven't pushed anything yet. I'm just working locally. So there's not, the only thing that's up there that you'll have access, or anyone has access to, is the slides. None of this is, I haven't done anything with this other than just run it on my local computer. So here he does explain the tildes a little bit. An optional key. What the heck is a key? The key is the YAML command. Did you know? Is that technical? That's good to know. Did you know the thing in the YAML that's actually called a key, or is he just using it? Man, I like this guy. He's got some good documentation up here. I learned something. So abstract is a key. Keywords is a key. I don't know. Everyone probably already knew that. I didn't know that. Okay. So the tilde is just saying it's kind of a placeholder. I don't know if that's universal either. I don't think I've seen that before. I'm used to seeing that Plotly. If we do Plotly objects, they use a lot of tildes, but I haven't seen it in the YAML. An optional key you do not use can be deleted or commented out. If you prefer to keep it visible but empty, you can make it null. Okay. So getting rid of the dead person thing probably didn't hurt us. We should be able to use the hashtag also to get around that, and that looks like it worked. Again, I don't know where it's putting this. I mean, I know where it's putting it, but I don't know why it's not showing up in the preview panel. So I don't know if that's a bug or that's the way that we're using it. It seems like if we come in fresh, so I'm going to change these little alterations I have, and we'll come in fresh. My R Studio has been really, really slow for months. I don't know why. I think I did install a newer version fairly recently.
Did you install Positron?
No, I had those guys on last night. They had a chat. Really, I couldn't hear a single. I couldn't hear anything, because you remember last week when my audio went and just all of a sudden I couldn't hear you, and it wasn't you, it was me. I'm like, Diego, you're muted, and you weren't. Like, do you remember that?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Not
so
again?
well, my solution for it was just to kind of forget about it and ignore it and hope it goes away. And then I had these guys on last night to chat about Positron, and it didn't go. It was still broken. And then I didn't think it'd be a big deal. And then all kinds of people showed up, so then it was kind of a bigger deal. But
What was this?
it was on this YouTube channel, but it was also simulcast to Twitter, and there were like so many people on Twitter. I don't know. The numbers I was seeing, I saw the biggest number I saw, I think, was 1,300, which sounds like it's kind of a cumulative thing, right? Like maybe people popping in and then just leaving. But the number was also going down. It wasn't just always going up. It was also going down. So it was weird. I don't know. It was a little anxiety provoking because I couldn't hear. I wanted to like learn from them a little better. I got to go back and watch it. Okay. So I restarted my machine here just because we'll see if we can get the document to pop up on preview again. This is going to be a big pain in the butt if we have to set working directory each time. I don't know. It's not one of my favorite things to do. But so we'll go ahead and grab that file, apaquarto, and it has our changes in there. We commented some stuff out. See if it now does pop up in our, yeah. So that seems odd, doesn't it, Diego? Like it sometimes, it might be just my computer also. But let's see if we can get that to render like a nicely formatted paper. General options, here we go. Title, that's self-explanatory. Short title should be the running head. Abstract keywords, blah, blah, blah. Oh, he does have numbered lines. Yay. I like that. Let's look for that and enable that. Where might those be? I don't know if he has that in as a default. It doesn't look like it. Man, there's a lot of author notes here. Let me just get rid of those. And I would imagine, I'm going to use my fancy new word now. I imagine that that key is a first level key. We know that these YAMLs are picky in terms of indentation. But he didn't say otherwise here, so I'm assuming that this is going to be first level. He doesn't give values. I don't know if it's true, false, or what kind of values we can have. So that's a little unfortunate. Let's just try a true. And the other thing we don't know is Quarto. Quarto seems to prefer lowercase for some reason, whereas Markdown, I think we were getting used to using uppercase for things like true and false. Let's see if that does anything. Doggone it, document, where did you go? It's not wanting to overwrite, which is, it might be because I had it open.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
I really should have called this something else. So let's see, this rendered at 657, so it looks like it's working. The odd thing, well, another odd thing here, Diego, is we're not getting our line numbers, but we also didn't get an error. So it's almost like it just ignored what we added here on line 17. It's weird. A little weird. 657 it's saying. I'm not sure if that is re-rendering or not. Oh, 658, yeah, it is. So it's not line numbers true. Should we say yes? Try yes.
Maybe it's because it's WordPress.
Yeah, that could be too. And also, I want to get the PDF. So before we drop off here, let's take a look at a PDF. But I also wouldn't mind. Also, yeah, we're not getting line numbers, so we'll have to do a little exploration.
Maybe push it, and I'll try it on my computer.
Okay. Well, I mean, there's not much here. I just, that bibliography, and oh, I'm not in our project folder either. This, again, remember, this is just local, which might be one of the reasons why we're having some issues with the preview. So we would have to I would have to reconstruct this or move everything over. But I mean, the look of it is fine, right? It looks nice. Let's see if we can get. Let's see if we can get some of these other YAML commands in there. No ampersand parenthetical. That's weird. What the heck is that? APA style uses ampersands, but not in narrative. That's stupid APA. It's not, oh, no, that's consistent. They've done that forever. Schneider and McGrew in text. All right, I guess that's just an option. Affiliations, we're not that interested in. Author roles, don't care about that. Author, others are deceased. It's just, I mean, I guess he's being thorough, but for Fred Jones, like, kind of feel bad. Didn't even send him any flowers. But Fred Jones is deceased. Here we go. Options for Word docs and typist docs. So maybe I was wrong. He is considering typist and PDF separately. When we saw, just briefly, when we looked and saw all of the supplementary support things that were provided in the extension itself, we just saw typist, and so assumed that maybe there was typist and not LaTeX, but it looks like there's both. Document mode, here we go. So this is, it is Joe. So this guy has to have some experience with Papaja. I wonder if those authors know each other or collaborate with each other. This guy is domestic here in the U.S. at Temple. I know Oust and who's the other one? The Papaja guys, I think, are in Europe, or at least were in Europe. So let's try Joe. But also want to try a PDF, and then we can maybe go. So the values here are the same in this extension as they were in Papaja. Again, I'm gonna have to search for it and find it. Diego, if you want to try this in a project folder, I am curious about that. Or maybe we don't have the time, so we don't need to do that. It doesn't look like anyone's asking us to do it.
You want to try something cool?
Yeah. You sound like a drug dealer. Hey,
Almost.
like a malicious one. Hey kid, you want to try something cool?
I was maybe putting our LaTeX code and see if it renders. I mean, problem is we would need the packages, but the LaTeX packages, tiny.
You mean
fancy.
directly put some LaTeX in this document and see if we can alter like how it looks, like the text or
Yeah.
something? Okay. Yeah, we can do that. Maybe should we just like add a color or something, or make the text bigger or smaller? Shouldn't be too
Well, I
difficult.
pasted the stuff that I did for my dissertation on the private chat, but you will need to add spaces, so it's too much work.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at that. I know some of these require packages, right?
Yeah, you could also paste the packages.
Let's see if we can get it to render as a copy edited. It didn't seem to do anything if when I just changed man to Joe, but again, it seems like it's working better if we just come in fresh, which that's gonna get annoying. And again, this is if you're watching this is our first time playing with this. We haven't read the documentation. We're just playing with it, so I'm probably using it wrong. Any big plans for the 4th, Diego?
No, not really. I get in my company they're letting us not work on Friday,
Okay.
so it's gonna be a long weekend. It's my first week and I already getting like a little vacation here.
Oh, nice. Oh, so you have started. That's neat.
Yeah, I started yesterday. Yesterday was the orientation. Today was like more like a regular work day.
Okay. It is a little bit different, so we just didn't notice it. It's difficult to see slight differences between the manuscript and the copy edited journal format because there's so little content in here. But it is slightly different. If we were to put enough text in here, I would imagine it would probably give us columns. Let's go to the what is it, the lorem ipsum generator or something? Didn't I send you there once for some gobbledygook? Five paragraphs. That should be enough. All right, so we'll add that to A New Hope and see if it looks any different. And then we'll definitely take a look at the PDF. It's not seeming to want to overwrite. So we are needing to go in there kind of fresh. So there's our information. It does still look like a manuscript. Did I switch it back to manuscript? No, it's journal. I know there's some things in here that, again, we haven't read the documentation, but they're not working as seamlessly, at least intuitively, as we might want. That hard coming in hard with a restart seems to make a difference here. So I know it's annoying because my RStudio is so slow, but we're gonna try that one last time and see if we can get the journal stuff, see what it looks like. And it might be easier to see if we render to a PDF as well. So while my RStudio is rendering, let's look for that. How do I get a PDF here? Languages, that's kind of cool. So language is going to alter some headings. So the names of abstract, figures, tables, and references. Should we do it in Espanol? And you can tell us if it's accurate or not.
Yeah. I did try that. I tried the opposite, changing from Spanish to English.
In when did you? With what did you try that?
With Quarto, but it didn't work well.
Format. So I don't language. I'm not sure exactly where that goes. It might be in format or it might be its own. So try it on its own.
Okay, let's see.
I don't think I'm
do
not
anything
think.
Spanish.
No, I think it's supposed to. If the documentation is right, it says abstract. Oh, abstract figures, tables, and references. So where's our abstract? I don't know. That looks like English to me, but again, maybe we're reading this wrong. Let's see if we can get the PDF here. So document mode, PDF. Yes, we want PDF. I think he had that. I don't know why default is the value, but it is. So we'll see if we get a PDF here. It's kind of like a shiny app. Didn't like bad indentation of mapping under. Okay, so this is good. I mean, we're actually getting some feedback now. That was due to not indentation on dock mode. Oh, you know what's happening here? Sorry, I'm kind of an idiot. It looks like document mode is only going to reflect the PDF, right? Because it's underneath PDF, it's indented there. So we need to find our PDF version. And that should be the document that has alterations, not the Word. How do I turn off the Word? Can I just use that tilde? Oops. That's not what I wanted to do. Let's try that. And then HTML, whoops, doesn't like that. Let's figure out how to shut some of these off.
You cannot just remove it.
Oh, maybe. It's thinking. Okay. There we go. So this is our HTML file. Whoops. Oh, that's not bad. So I could see a use for this. Now with this obviously isn't APA format, right? Is there an APA format for HTML files?
Not that I know.
I kind of doubt it. But so we get this sidebar, which is nice. It looks like the Quarto book kind of layout. And that scrolls with us. Oh, I could see this being nice for editing. I wonder if we now have, yeah. So now we have our link, our preview upon hover for the citations, and the hyperlink is activated, so we go straight to it. Our PDF isn't rendering, so I'm wondering if we need something else here for Quarto PDF. Let me take that document mode off, and we'll just try default on PDF and see if we get anything. I do not see a PDF that appeared. So let's take a look at the instructions. If all else fails, gotta read the instructions. He might see if he has some instructions on his GitHub page here, which is a little different than the link that we were using. Using it via the console, terminal, template file, which is what we're playing with. Oh, here we go. So you can add the extension to an existing file or project. Oh, you're still gonna want all that goop. So we're gonna have a lot of goop in a folder, regardless, if we want to use this extension. Quarto PDF, yes, that's what we want. It's kind of weird syntax, isn't it? Let's say default. Let's try those again. See if maybe typist renders. It could be a LaTeX compilation issue on my end, I think, because we use TinyText for all the Quarto and R Markdown stuff. That seems to work fine, but it's possible that he wants something different. I'm not seeing any PDF, or I'm not sure what the extension is on typist files. I assumed it was also PDF, but apparently it's not. I'm not seeing a lot of feedback with the PDF in particular. So let's see. Kind of scrolling through my background jobs here. Oh, it's still running. One of the reasons maybe that we have to exit and come back in is it seems to wanna be working a lot longer than what we would think it should be working. So it's not just rendering and then done. It's rendering and staying active, which is a little odd, I think, or not something that we're familiar with or used to in the context of something like this. Okay, so let's see if we can get that PDF to appear, or at least get some feedback on it in terms of why it's not. HTML, I don't think we need that. Although he did have that PDF button in the HTML, so maybe that's how he wants us to access it. So there's our HTML file. Now we do have PDF, and typist now has appeared. I wonder if that's why it's working. It's actually not rendering it until we ask for it. So those two, I don't know. We're gonna have to do a little digging. Maybe maybe next week we revisit this again after playing with it a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, having a hard time reading it because this laptop has such small text.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think
But
next
it
week we just.
didn't
I think
translate it. Hmm?
what? It didn't translate. The PDF was not rendering, but again, we didn't fully vet the instructions, so we're just playing with it like how we would normally play with, a new package. So maybe next week. Next week I'll play around a little bit and see if we get a PDF. If it's a simple tiny thing, we probably don't need to spend the whole week on it. Maybe just cover it in the recap. But if it's a larger issue, we can hit that next week.
You think we should use this for creating the dissertate MSU? We should stick with Quarto. Yeah, with APA Quarto.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm glad that we're still doing that, but I'm not sure if we want to take what you currently have, which is mostly Papaja oriented, and just get those final tweaks in there, or if we want
It would be
to.
just adding latex, right?
I think
To something
so.
for
I
latex
think so.
part.
Yeah, I think
And
so.
then what would be cool would be if people, instead of having to navigate through the script and know where to put their method section and where to put the procedure, where to put the results, if they just had like a book down where you have a separate script for those sections, and then
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
somehow
you seem to like that. I like it better just one long document with everything in there, but that can be your style decision, I guess. If you seem to like it better to have those chapters.
no, I like the long one too, but I'm just trying to think what a user that's not very familiar with R would prefer. I think they would prefer just to separate. I'm thinking of like graduate students who just took a basic R course and they don't really like to dig too deep into R or Studio.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Maybe they just prefer a separate document and then let all the LaTeX stuff happen in the background.
Well, we could ask around, maybe ask some of your classmates, or we can ask Dr. Mike. He's probably got a good, you know, finger on the pulse of that kind of thing.
And yesterday, did you learn anything about positron during the stuff you could hear?
Not as much as I wanted. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it now that I can hear. Um, I did get the impression that it's VS Code. It's VS Code with extensions added to it that make it a little more amenable to the R stuff. So I couldn't hear, so I'm not 100%. I'm not clear on that. But the videos out there, those guys, seemed like they definitely knew what they were doing, and
Who
I
were
did
they?
get that. Who were they?
Yeah.
There was a political scientist, an economist, and I think Josiah is a former developer at Posit. I think he might have actually worked there at one point. It's so dumb. I couldn't hear. So I don't know. All right. Okay. So next week, if we don't revisit this, I think next week we might take the Shiny app that we developed and see if we can put it in a Quarto dashboard format which the scripting is a little different, right?
Yep.
That'd be fun. I think. I think that'll be instructive with regard to how the scripting is structured in Quarto in particular. Sound good?
Yep.
Okay.
No, so if you want, you can pull the CTTICC and try the app with the. Um, I added the to upload a document and it reads it.
Okay.
So
Oh, it
yeah,
does read it now. Okay, cool.
yeah, and it changes everything based on what you feed it.
Okay, neat. Well, yeah, we're gonna. Are we gonna take a look at that on Friday?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Have a good 4th.
You took.
See ya.
See you later.